It looks like the stream is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on so many levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woohoo!
Dungeons and Dragons.
I am Christiana Ellis, the Dungeon Master, and you may have noticed that our screen looks a little bit different today, and that is because we're missing tons of people, like 2/3. But we are going to play anyway. We're going to play a special one-shot exploring one of the currently as yet untouched corners of our world, untouched by our adventurer's camera, that is. And we also have special guest Sola Balasine joining us.
Hello.
Welcome. And then, of course, we also have tonight Mark Kilfoyle
How's it going?
and Starla Hutchton.
Hello.
I'm going to put your character names on your little text name tag. And I have Sola's character's tenor. Mark, what is your character's name?
Ugal. Ugal.
Ugal. All right. That is a name, apparently. We shall see what that's all about. What about you, Starla?
Iridia. Iridia.
All right. So we're going to meet those characters in just a moment. But here's where it occurs to me now that I should have scripted about a one-paragraph summary of where we're going to be playing tonight, and it would have been really cool. And instead, I'm just going to have to riff it. So that's fine. It's all fine. We're fine here. How are you?
How are you?
So let's begin. We start in the world of Sekamian, the prime material plane, a place that the heroes of legend haven't gotten a chance to see much of recently. And we're in the middle of the end of the world, kinda? Unclear. There's certainly some weird things going on. But far to the north of anywhere in Sekamian we have visited so far, there is the coastal town of Halenok on Leviathan's Bay. That bay so named for the fact that sometimes great big undersea water monsters will take ships. Kind of dangerous. But by and large, this is a bustling, thriving coastal city that has not typically had too much problem with all of the political conflicts of the outside world. They've had in the past some trouble with an army of hobgoblins, but that's largely been, less of a problem recently. And in fact, the primary concern of most of the citizens of Halenok right now is the fact that for the last couple of weeks, all sorts of strange extraplanar monsters keep showing up with an alarming regularity. And even more than that, sometimes the world just feels different. It'll feel like the very air around you just radiates with menace one day. And then the next day, it'll feel like you have protection and peace and energy on your side guiding your every move. And you really don't have any kind of a weather forecast for when that's going to happen. So, if you would like to plan an important event on one of those peace and love days, just no way to know. But because of all of this recent craziness, the town council of Halenok has chosen to get some of the local adventurers and have them on retainer rather than just hiring per, freelance. And so that's where the three of you come in. And hang on, I had a ambiance that I was going to go ahead and put on here. Yeah, so the three of you are adventurers that answered this call and have been working for the town of Halenok for a little while now, doing their various jobs that need doing, keeping the people safe. But here's the thing. Right now, you are in the waiting room outside the mayor's office because the last assignment did not go well. And you suspect you are due for some chewing out. So as you hang out in this little waiting room, let's have each of you describe your character and what do they look like? What are they doing as they wait for this forthcoming lambasting?
Well, if I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Tenor has settled her hindquarters into a back corner of the room so that she does not get kicked in any of her four angles as people filter in and out, I'm sure. She is a medium-sized buckskin-colored centaur with dark hair. She's dressed in, a medium like chainmail armor, and she's actually knitting. It seems to keep her hands calm.
Very nice. Iridia?
Well, the water genasi. Sitting, trying to stay calm over in the chair, but her leg will not stop bouncing. Because she knows there are things they should be doing, and this is not the place to be doing them. But we have to be here because we kind of messed up that last job.
How about you, Yugal?
Well, sitting there rather calmly, just trying to take everything in. A light gray-skinned half-orc in decent but simple clothes. Seems like he's bored and seems like he's distracting himself by picking his teeth with a piece of wood. But these two know he takes in a lot more than he seems to. And he's just looking to see if there's any danger and probably building up some sort of argument. What that's going to be, he's not really sure. But he's pretty sure that that house was already going to fall over. Nothing they could have done anything about it. After all, it's not like we intended to tear it apart. It was really just going to fall over. You saw the building as we walked in, right? Those timbers were all burned up. Nothing we could have done about it. Nothing at all.
No. So after a while, the receptionist shows you into the mayor's office, and this is a stocky dwarf. And when I say a stocky dwarf, I do mean stocky for a dwarf. Sitting behind the desk, currently just with his head in his hands. He does not even look up at you. He's just taking deep, even breaths as you enter, and either take a seat or don't, as you like.
Choose to stand by the door. Someplace I can see everything.
I'll go and have a seat right in front of the desk, just kind of looking a little cowed.
I'll duck and walk all the way in, but stand to one side so as not to block the view from the door.
Okay. One quick note, Sola. I've gotten a note that you're a little bit louder than everyone else. So I just
Am I? Here.
I mean, just a little bit.
Is that helpful?
Well, if you're able to just like move the microphone away a little bit, or I don't know if it's not a big deal. Just easier to fix sooner.
Yeah, I just moved the mic away. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so as you all settle in, the mayor, this is Mayor Quincy, just takes a deep breath and says, "So, you three have anything to say for yourselves?"
We tried really hard.
Well, yeah. I imagine the level of destruction that has recently been wreaked probably required quite a bit of effort.
It would have happened whether we were there or not, but worse would have happened if we weren't there.
Well, so, maybe one of you can explain to me how the Tyrannosaurus Rex came to be in the kitchen of that house. It's not where you usually find them.
If it makes you feel any better, it wasn't in the kitchen for very long.
Yeah, well,
living room.
Yeah, it started out somewhere else, if that's helpful.
Yeah, well, tell me how you think that would be helpful. No, I really want to know. I am listening to hear if there's something that would persuade me.
Well, there was a purple something glowing weird, but I don't think it'll be a problem anymore because, I mean, you know, with the house collapsed on top of it, I don't think anything is going to be coming through there anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's true, including, tax dollars. But
I think the value of the place went a lot further down once the thing was inside anyway.
Right.
I mean, nobody really wants that for a neighbor. Plus
So-
that blue glow or purple glow, what the hell it was.
Yeah. So,
That's
any
inviting.
thoughts on all of those people whose skin is now blue? Any thoughts on that or what might be done?
Do you have something against blue skin?
Well,
They seem perfectly normal to me.
no. If
I mean,
you're
it's not my
normally blue
thing,
skinned, great. I'm mostly talking about the people who weren't blue until yesterday.
Hey, it's a lifestyle choice. Leave them alone.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Well, you hired us to investigate and resolve any anomalies. We investigated it, and it's resolved. It's
Yeah.
finished, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody came to harm.
And the blue
There.
will wear off eventually. I mean, how are we supposed to know there was a whole big... that person was making yarn and dyeing all of those batches in that house above the kitchen. Like, and the floors were not very sturdy, to be completely honest.
Well,
Probably why the thing fell over, really.
yeah, it's a shame that historical monument, the oldest building in town, wasn't built to last, apparently.
Hey, you know what happens to old things? They die. It happens.
Well, just so happens that I have a way for you all to make this up to me. And to
You got some more
justify.
work?
Yeah. So maybe something that could justify the expensive retainer that the town is paying you all.
Now you're talking. What
All
do you
right.
got there, Matty?
Well, as you may or may not know, depending on how new you are in town, the bay out there sometimes has a kraken problem. And you know how it is, people and powerful spirits like that. Sure, yeah, you pray to the kraken, you say, "Please, kraken, do not sink my ship as I prepare to cross the bay," right? Everyone gets that. But then you get those weirdos who start thinking, "Oh, well, I think that sort of power is really cool. Maybe I could get it working for me." They become cultists at that point. Not so good for the town's bottom line. And right now, in all of this chaos, some of those weirdos are out there on the beach right now asking the Kraken to bring its full destructive wrath right here today. I would appreciate if you could go down there and get them to cut it out. And in particular, if they've got some sort of a boss who's telling them to do that, tell them to cut it out too.
One question. Does it matter how we get them to go away, or you just want them gone?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't want you to start with the sword, but if you need to finish it that way, that would be all right.
Well, I don't use swords anyway. I mean, it's not really my forte.
I guess my point is just, if these people are harmless, fine. But praying for the Kraken to bring its destructive fury to the town of Halenok doesn't seem harmless to me, especially not these days. Because ordinarily, fine, they're crazy, whatever. Lately, I'm starting to wonder if they might not just convince him to do it. So, how about you persuade them, however that means you need to do it, to stop that. If you can persuade these crazy Kraken cultists that they've been all wrong and they should just stop it, well, good luck with that. My guess is that they will require a more forceful means of persuasion.
Percussive therapy is our specialty.
I'm glad to hear that. Let's see how effective you are this time.
Well, I mean, if they're out on the beach, I mean, there's nothing that's going to fall down out there.
Well, I mean,
Well,
you'd think that. But I don't know where these guys came from. Because they've got all sorts of paraphernalia. They did not walk through Main Street dressed like that. So find out where they came from.
Paraphernalia?
Let me just say, you'll know them when you see them.
I think it's a kind of plant, a Phernalia. And they got two of them. That's all I can figure. Look,
I think he means robes and fancy hats.
why
maybe
does he
they
just
have-
say robes and fancy hats then?
Lanterns, puppets.
All of these are questions that you could
Puppets.
answer for yourselves by getting to work. How about that?
I hate puppets. Fine, fine. This is nothing so hard for us to deal with. I'm just wondering why you have some specialists doing this, while your town guard is not there just, shoving these people on.
Well, some of the town guard is doing triage for all of the people who got turned into chickens by the sprites last week. And some of the town guard are cleaning up all of those imps that were playing pranks all over the town. And some of the town guard are chasing after all of those weird little will-o'-the-wisps that started floating over the cemetery. And some of the town guard are you, that the town is paying for you to do exactly this.
All right. You don't have to bother us up too much. We'll be fine.
So
That's fair.
approximately, saying the beach is pretty general. Do you have a more specific location for us to travel to?
I'm going to just go ahead and say, when he says the beach, you guys know where that means. This is not a huge town. There's basically the shipyards, and then next to that is the part that is the beach.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're on the coast, so it's
Yeah. So the point, basically, yeah, you guys know where he means.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the beach? Yeah, we know what that is.
Yeah, the beach. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And, like I said, would be really bad for the town if they succeed in bringing the Kraken. So let's try to keep that from happening. I would say that's priority one.
I mean, the Kraken's been there for thousands of years, so. But we'll do as you ask.
All right. Now get out.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
All right. You don't have to push.
He does not get up from his desk, and yet his glare feels as forceful as a shove. So all of you get out of the office. You leave the town council building, and are there any preparations you would want to make before you head down to the beach and shipyards?
I really feel like he could reassign those chicken guards.
Well, and the ones chasing after the will-o'-wisps. I mean, that's that's so silly and pointless.
And it's entirely possible that they got all the good duties because they've been better than us. I don't know. But that could have been a lot worse. I expected a penalty or something. Or worse, having to build a building. I don't know, one way or the end of a hammer to the other.
Well,
But,
I certainly can't afford to make more repairs like we had to do when that caravan got waylaid. That we more of the goods might have gotten destroyed than we would have liked, if we all
Yeah.
recall that.
that probably was more our fault than it meant to be, but this isn't so hard. Rough up a couple of leaders, rest will all just, well, they'll be like chickens too. I'm sure that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, all we have
One-
to do is take away their puppets, and they'll go running home to mommy.
Don't mention puppets again, would you? I hope you're joking.
Well, we'll find out when we get there. You don't like their little dead black felt eyes and
No.
wavy little boneless arms?
No, they look like little people, like a gnome or something, but they don't have no lips that move. It just is not right. It's not right. It shouldn't be.
So here's where I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me, and that is to have each of you please name for me someone in the town other than the mayor that you have formed a connection to.
Well, there's my mother,
Okay.
but not really within the town because we live outside of town.
Let's get someone who's in town if that's okay.
So bad at thinking of names on the spot. Somebody else go.
Yeah, I just opened a name generator. I gotta be honest.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be someone who's like extra important to your backstory or anything. It could literally be the cute girl behind the counter at the bakery. It could be, hey, there's that that one guard that you play chess with sometimes, or just stuff like that. It could be very simple.
Well, there's the half elf boy that helps run the stall where my father used to bring fish to sell.
And there is Elma, the young elf who runs the apothecary, where I get clericing supplies.
Elma, the elf who runs the apothecary.
Yes.
Did you name your fishmonger half elf?
Sarelor, Sarelor.
Sarah Laura. All right. And you go.
It ain't easy being a half orc around here. There ain't enough of us. But Oster Thunderboard, she runs a little bar down by the water. She's taken to me a little bit, so I chat her up from time to time. We seem to get along okay.
Sounds like maybe a dwarf name. Yes. No.
He's a dwarf indeed.
All right. Okay, so all of you make your way down to the beach through the shipyards. It's chilly today. It's not. You haven't had a lot of snow yet in the area, but it's definitely got those winds coming off the water that can kind of chill you to the bone if you're not dressed appropriately. But you guys have been in town for a little while. You've got the appropriate gear. But certainly the beach is not where you find a lot of people this time of year usually. So when you make your way to where you can see the stretch of sandy beach, the three individuals who are standing out there seem to have attracted the attention of a slightly small crowd that stands well back from them. There's about a dozen looky-loos, some of them shouting curses, but too afraid to do more. But these three individuals in particular are standing to where they're kind of knee-deep in the surf as the tide comes in. They are about, it doesn't ever rise above their knee. But you see these three individuals, two who have long swords at their sides that are clearly made with, they're not steel blades. It's looks like some sort of coral with the blade is all shark teeth along the edges. And the one in the center is holding up a holy symbol that looks like it was made from driftwood and barnacles and all that sort of thing. But what you notice immediately about all three of them is that they're wearing identical mantles that look like they're probably made out of leather, but they're designed to have a great big tall like squid head on their head and tentacles that drape down up in front and behind of their shoulders. And they seem to be performing some sort of a ceremony, doing their best to ignore all of the shouts from behind them, but you can tell it bothers them a little bit.
About how many other people are there, roughly? Like we're talking
About a
30?
dozen. Those people are standing, like none of them are approaching any closer than about 30 feet. You can tell that they're probably cowed by the fact that these guys are actually armed, and they're mostly shouting so far, but they see you coming and some of them cheer. Yay! Come on, yeah, get rid of these guys!
Yeah.
In
fact,
are they shouting in a specific language, like or with the?
Well, so the crowd is shouting jeers and insults at the people who are speaking in some sort of a fancy magical prayer language. Do any of you speak Primordial?
Yes, I do.
Well, then you hear that they are, in fact, praying, "O great Kraken Lord, please bring your destructive wrath to this city and punish all those who deserve your fury. It is needed today of all days that you display your awesome power and prove that you are the Lord of the Deep." And they're basically going on and on like that. And from the crowd of onlookers, an elderly, hunched-over woman approaches you and just says, "Well, it's about time. Are you going to do something about this or not?"
I think all of you should probably depart, just in case this gets messy.
She folds her arms and says, "Well, I think I'll just stay here and make sure you actually do your jobs. You know, our tax dollars are paying your salary."
Well, madam, if you don't mind the possibility of being turned blue or into a chicken, you're more than welcome.
And I will whip out a piece of paper, a bit of parchment, and my ink, and I will write up a waiver for her to sign that she has elected to not stand clear of the situation. If you would please.
Now you did it, lady. There's paperwork involved.
She peers down at it, scowls, appears to read maybe half of it, scowls up at you again, arms folded, and she starts to walk away, but turns back to give you the fingers, the "I'm watching you" fingers, like.
I return a couple of fingers that are different entirely.
She stomps off. But she actually does seem to, the way the rest of these people all follow her, you would not be a bit surprised to learn that she is the one that brought them all out there. So, yeah, they follow her when she heads back towards the shipyard. But yeah.
I don't know what the problem is with paperwork. Like, it's fine. I mean, it would have just required, 2 seconds for her to sign her name, but no.
Yeah, no, paperwork is the worst weapon I've ever seen. But we might have to talk to her later. She might have seen something, in case these three don't want to talk too much.
Well, I have a feeling she won't be hard to find.
Yeah, just make a noise on the beach. All right. Who wants to be the lead on this? Lydia, you want to talk them?
None particularly.
Tanner?
You probably don't want me to do that.
Ah, crap. Not again.
Well, if we're just trying to get them to move off, maybe the most intimidating of us. And she kind of looks up at the centaur friend.
Oh, yes, the centaur friend with the warhammer.
Who-
I
who-
see.
who's
I
the
see.
taller? I would assume it would be the centaur and not the half orc.
Hey, if the hooves fit,
I know. I feel like I'm being typecast here. I feel like I'm being placed in a role.
yeah, tell me about it.
Has this been the norm with your jobs with these folks too so far? Do they let you try to make you be the muscle?
Well, I probably am the muscle, so it's fair enough. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to protest.
Sure. Like, you don't mind doing it, you just would like it to not be assumed.
Exactly.
I get
I
that.
just like, maybe I have finer feelings. Maybe I'm a delicate centaur. Maybe I like to dance posies or something. You don't know. Just Warhammer does not mean I am here to intimidate. It totally
can
means I'm
dance
here to
with all the
intimidate. But
flowers later. For now, you want to dance with that one in the middle, the one that's doing all the talking.
The priest in the front is now going on about how, like, see how these townsfolk flee before you. Imagine their terror should you arrive in person and show them your full might. Then they would respect and fear you like you deserve.
Sounds like you got more angry.
I
What's
will
going on?
explain what was said. I was assuming they're still speaking primordial. I will
Yeah.
translate and kind of roll my eyes. This guy.
Yeah, and I think you guys definitely noticed that, like, at least one of these two with the shark tooth swords has, like, noticed you guys there, and they're paying attention to you being there, but they're still doing their ceremony. Every so often, they have this weird gesture they do in unison where they sort of flop these little leather tentacles they've got on their mantles.
Great. The politician. That's all we need. All right. You don't think you could actually do it, could you? Iridia, I mean, you know the water better than I do.
Well, things are very strange right now. I want to say no, but there's a very small part of me that has doubt. I mean, Tyrannosaurus Rex. You know,
At least we're not in the building anymore.
Hmm?
that's true.
Well, shall we change the tenor of the conversation?
fine, very well. Well,
Don't worry. I'll be over here watching.
it's so good to know I'll be under the master's eye. Anyway,
Oh, that's a longer conversation we gotta have sometime.
Well, I mean, we could all go. Like, you
Well,
shouldn't have to go up there by yourself.
no,
not saying
she's
she's
willing.
going
She's
by
just giving
herself.
you guys a very hard time about it.
I just
So-
prefer to watch what they're gonna do.
I'm definitely more effective from a distance. So.
So,
So-
as you start to approach Tenor, one of these two with the swords sees you approaching and just kind of says, "Oh, now that's close enough. Now we wouldn't want to have to hurt you."
Oh no, I wouldn't want you to have to do that. But I do have a question. How do you know the Kraken even wants to scare anybody? Maybe you're laying out the wrong bait.
Yeah. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about now, huh?
I just asking questions. I mean, if you're calling, I mean, why are you calling the Kraken here? Just out of curiosity.
Well, because
I mean, we know what you're doing.
kind of looks to the other two. The priest with the is continuing the prayer, but I think probably you guys might notice a slight look over the shoulder of annoyance, like, you know, when you hear those people talking behind you, and you really wish they'd shut up, but you got something to do, and you hope they'll just take the hint. But the other guy is, looking at you and just, one of them basically puts his hand down to the sword hilt and just says, maybe you ought to just be on your way now.
Well, I'd love to do that, but it seems to me that you would like all of us to be on our way to, the next life, and that seems rude to me because nobody else agreed to do that.
Well, if you if you were displaying the appropriate fear and respect of the Kraken, you'd be here with us. So if you're not, then clearly you're on the wrong side.
I see. Well, I have never met Mr. Kraken, and I don't care to do so.
Oh,
But why
well,
do you have to call
will.
him here?
You
Can't you
will.
call him to some other town?
Well, this town needs to show the appropriate respect. After all, the Lord of the Deep is, and then you get a shh from the priest. And then he basically just steps forward and he's quieter now. It's like, yeah, so just like go now, or we, have to make you go.
I see. Oh. Well,
And,
you guys keep it up. Seems like you're doing a great job. We'll be back. We'll give you 5 minutes. 5-minute break.
And so, Iridia, you can hear that the priest up there now is saying, see how the people of this town don't respect your servants. See how they interrupt the most holy rituals meant to honor and respect you.
So in Primordial, I'm going to start shouting about how this guy thinks that he's so much better than the Kraken that he can command him and tell him what to do. And it's going to... Look at this guy out on the beach. He thinks he's so great. He thinks that the Kraken answers to him. The Kraken doesn't care about you.
As you do that finally gets the priest to stop. He whirls and just in fury just says, "How dare you, man!"
Cultist meets strange brew. What the hell?
And now we're rolling initiative because he's just saying, "Blood for the Kraken! Get him!" So yeah, we're rolling initiative.
Everybody knows it's rum for the Kraken. Too far.
So I just came back from a con and bought this D20 that's the size of a golf ball. So if it's
Yeah.
too loud when I roll it, just let me know.
All right, let's see if
All right.
I've got a good.
Wow, that's lousy.
Let's see. Hang on. All right. So, let's get those initiative rolls, please.
13.
13. All right. And Tenor,
15.
15. Hugo,
I got a tenor. 10.
10. Oh, I see. I get it. All right. Okay, this ambience, I'm trying to tell it to not do those. There we go. Okay, that. Okay, sorry. I'm experimenting with some ambiances, and that one I don't actually care for. There we go. Let's do this. All right. And then let me roll for these nasty fellas who want to summon that there Kraken. So that's going to be 16 for him, and then Sword Boys. Ooh, they both rolled well. They all rolled higher than all of you guys. So yeah, that's going to happen in a moment. Okay. So, first up, these two sword boys. One of them charges at you, Iridia. He basically draws this big sword-toothed dagger. You see he draws it quickly, and it cuts a hole in the rough sheath that he had made. You get the feeling that these things are not actually super... Like, they're very intimidating and scary as a weapon. Not like practical. You know, you basically, it's got a whole rough edge, like it's sawtooth on the edges. But he's going to try to stab you with it, though.
Okay.
That's a 14 to hit.
That would hit, but I cast shield.
Uh-huh. What does your shield look like?
Kind of looks like a spray of water kind of in the air.
Nice. So, he goes and you dodge away, deflecting the blow with this little splash of water. And this guy's buddy there is coming after you, Tenor. That is going to be just a 13 to hit.
That does not hit.
Uh-huh, well.
He's flailing around down there.
Yeah. I think he has probably not fought a centaur before, and it's got him a little confused. It's just like, well, do I stab in the same places, like, or do I have to, like, get around the back for the vital organs? It's a little, yeah, okay. But now it is the priest's turn, and what are they gonna do? Well, I think first they're going to cast they're going to cast blur on themselves. And so as you see them chant an oath in primordial, their form begins to dissolve and separate, like you could imagine a watercolor painting being soaked in water, and the edges of the picture just start to blur into each other, and it's hard to see them. All right, that is going to be. Why is it not coming up with the little hot tool? Sorry, there we go. That's an action to do that. Yeah, so, okay, that is his turn. He is currently blurred. But now, it is your turn, Tenor. Got one sword boy coming at you. He tried to stab you with a big shark tooth sword.
Alright, and... No, he's a little too close for that. I had a plan. So I will just take a thwack at him with my warhammer, because he's come into range, which seems real and wise.
Well, you know, he needed to do it to try to stab you. But go ahead and make your attack.
Alright, that is actually a 21 to hit.
Wow, that's definitely going to hit this lad.
And let's see, it's 1d8 plus 3. Of course, the d8 is the one I don't know about. So 9 damage total.
Okay. Yeah, so you definitely hit this guy. You send him not to the ground, but you clearly have you deduce now that this leather squid helmet does not appear to have much protective value, because you definitely see blood dripping down his forehead from beneath it, and you kind of rung his bell a little bit for sure. All right.
Who could have predicted that this leather squid wasn't useful?
Yeah. So, any other actions or bonus actions or such?
With my bonus action, I will cast... actually, I don't have that prepared. I'm used to having that prepared.
Huh?
But,
I mean,
then
this
I
is
will
like a
cast,
one-shot. You can change your mind about what you have prepared if you want. That's fine.
okay.
I'll give you
But
this
I'm not going to do that in the middle of battle.
You can now change
Alright.
whatever it is, but that's it.
Alright. That's... I'm going to cast then Aid. And
Alright.
I'll cast Aid on myself and my 2 companions.
Okay, so that is 5 hit points raised to your maximum hit points.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah. So your hit point maximum is now 5 higher, and you gain 5 hit points. All right. Yugal, your turn. Both of these sword boys are engaged, but the priest is still back a little bit.
All right. Hit the wrong button and gave myself 5 hit points. That's not what I meant to do. All right. Okay. I'm just going to slowly draw the dagger and circle around. I'll use my bonus action to dash, so I have enough distance to get all the way. And I'm circling around for Mr. Wet Painting. And my intention is to go straight at him. Let's see if I can grab him.
Okay. You're
That's
making a
bit
grapple?
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, hang on. I was looking at the wrong spell. Okay, so I think, yeah. So I think it makes sense to me that even a grapple attack, your check would have disadvantage because of the blur. So you're going to roll your athletics with disadvantage against his acrobatics.
Yeah.
Actually, no, his athletics too, because he is strong rather than dexterous.
Well, I threw one die on the floor, and it was probably the better one.
You grab at him and find that you managed to grab thin air as he managed to not be where you attempted to grab. He rolled a natural 20 on the
Oof.
athletics. Yeah. So he evades your grapple attempt.
Come here, squid boy. I got to talk to you.
And how dare you like defame the holy kraken? He will truly show you his might and stuff. All right, so that makes it Iridia, your turn.
So I don't see like this. It says the range area is 120 feet, but it doesn't say if there's any disadvantage, like if it's close.
What is it?
Firebolt.
Oh, I mean, it's normally that would be a ranged attack, so it would be disadvantage if you do it at point blank range. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was wondering because it does not say anywhere. Okay, so instead, I am going to use Thunder Wave.
Okay.
That's
Because you guys are not all too far apart, I'll go ahead and rule that you can get both of the sword boys in your cube.
Okay.
Assuming that's something you would want to do.
Sure, if I can.
Yeah.
So it's a Constitution 14.
Okay. That's a 17 and a 5, so one succeeds, the other does not. I'm going to say it, if I roll 11 or higher, it was the injured one that failed. And it was. So it was the already injured one that failed the saving throw.
Okay, and they will take 12 damage.
Okay. They are not only take that damage, but they are blasted back, 15 feet?
10 feet
10
away
feet.
from me.
Okay. And so it's going to be 6 damage to the other guy, and he's not blasted back.
Is that the one that's right in front of me?
Yeah, so the one right in front of you is not blasted back. But, Tenor, the one in front of you, suddenly blasted by this... Well, what does your Thunder Wave look like?
It's just a wave of pressure, so...
All right, sure.
Yeah.
It's like the sea wind. But basically...
I mean, it could be a wave of seahorses.
I just didn't think that it looked like it. I just never...
So in any event, the Tenor, yeah, the guy in front of you is suddenly blasted off of his feet, and he flies 10 feet back and lands on his butt in the middle of the surf. Sploosh! And he looks like if he's going to get up again, it's going to be slowly. But the guy who's right there by you, Iridia, is not as hurt as you maybe would have preferred.
Yeah. It was him I was actually trying to get away from me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. So he's going to try to stab you with his sword now, I think.
Nope.
Oh, but he only rolls a 10, so his ears are still ringing. His vision is a little blurry, I guess, from that Thunder Wave. The other guy does get up. He gets up slowly, as predicted. looks over to the priest, and the priest says, "Go on now. Kraken wants you to, die in his name." It looks like, and he's going to run over and charge you, Iridia, because you're the one that just knocked him off his feet. And gets a natural 20. So, yeah. All right, let's see. It's going to be 14 slashing damage. Oh, and are you wearing armor of any kind? You're a sorcerer,
No.
so probably no.
No.
Okay, so I said 14, right? It's actually 15. That could have been worse.
15?
15 slashing damage. Yeah. I see. And as you discover that despite looking kind of silly and maybe being impractical, that Sharktooth longsword act plenty sharp.
That hurts.
All right. So that is the Reaver's turn, and now the priest's turn, and he is gonna let's see what's he wanna do. Gosh, he is going to cast magic missile at you all, because you tried to grab him. So
What?
that's going to be 2, 6, 11 force damage as he fires out bolts of Kraken Force. In fact, I think he says Kraken Force as he fires it. He does a fancy hand gesture. Kraken Force! Wah! Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew.
Indeed. Pew, pew, pew.
That hurt.
Well, yeah. All right, so...
No, it automatically hits, so I can't use Uncanny Dodge on something like that, can I?
Uncanny Dodge, I think it's complicated with... Usually you could do it with any attack, but this is 3 separate bolts, so I think you could only half one of them.
Oh, well, that's something.
You could take 2 damage off of that. The highest of those missiles was 5, so... Alright. So you managed to dodge just enough for that one, kind of only grazes you. But Tenor, it's your turn now. Iridia's got 2 of these sword boys on her, and looks like Ugal's scrapping it up with the Flurry Priest.
Alright. How far away is Iridia from me at the moment?
Oh, close. I mean, you could, how
Okay.
far away do you want her to be?
I mean, I would love to charge over there, which means I would need to move at least 30 feet this round.
Your movement
But
speed
that's
is
kinda
higher,
far.
though, right? Like,
Yeah, my movement is 40.
okay, well, I'll say you can back up 10 feet and then charge 30 feet.
Alright. I would love to charge over there, attempt to lay about one with my warhammer, and whirl and kick the other if that one lands.
That sounds great. Which one are you trying to hit, the more injured one or the less injured one with the hammer?
The less injured one, because the
Okay.
hammer is bigger.
All right.
So, I could open that tab. There we are. That is a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that'll definitely hit.
Alright, so I can whack that one with my warhammer, and then I think it automatically, the second attack will automatically hit.
Well, do you do
Yeah.
damage with the
Oh,
the
do the
hammer?
damage with the warhammer
Yeah.
first. Alright, that is 1d8 plus 3. So warhammer does 7 damage.
All right. That guy's clocked pretty good, but still on his feet. I think you do still have to make an attack with the hooves.
Okay,
Attack roll.
so
I think
hooves is also
there's
plus 6.
Yeah.
That is only an 11, so 17 total.
That hits.
Excellent.
And I will go ahead and let you know that this sword boy only has 1 hit point. So
Well,
I
I've got
will give you
1d4
the
plus 3,
opportunity,
so-
if you like, to have this be a non-lethal horse kick in the face.
Yeah, I mean, these guys seem
Up to
more
you.
dumb than dangerous, so I am happy to kick him in the chest
Yeah.
and knock him
Carefully
on his
calibrated.
ass.
Hiya. Only, you know, with the hoof, right?
Yeah.
And he goes down like a sack of
Horse poop.
what's some ocean thing that would be in a sack? Oysters. So one reaver down. Okay, that makes it your turn, Yugal.
All right. Well, I'm not happy with this guy, but I'm going to try the same thing again. Want to get my hands on him.
Yeah.
That was worse.
Okay,
It was
well,
a 5.
well, he rolls a 17. So he
Yeah,
is.
keep him busy anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you are he is, I think at this point he is saying, "Behold, my devotion to the mighty Kraken has given me unprecedented agility and strength."
Yeah, stand still, you slimy bastard. And I'll use my bonus action. Wait, actually, what do I have for bonus action? Nope, there's nothing I can do. Nope, I'm done.
All right. Okay, so, Iridia, your turn.
Okay. So I am going to use. Let's see. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use Scorching Ray.
Okay.
And it's 3 rays, and I can hurl them at one target or several. So
Sure.
one is going to this guy that's in front of me, and the other 2 are headed towards.
Okay. I think those
Priest.
are all 3 at disadvantage because the guy in front of you is still close range and the other guy is blurred. But, yeah, you can go ahead and do
Okay.
that.
Plus 8. At disadvantage. Alright, so that was a 10.
The art for these sword boys is pretty great because they have shields made out of giant horseshoe crab shells.
So the lower one was a 9, so plus 8, that's 17 to hit.
17 hits for the reaver in front of you.
Alright, and that is 9 points.
Oh,
Fire
that is
damage?
just enough that you managed to get a lucky shot right to the face. Clearly inhales accidentally this scorching ray and burns out his lungs and collapses to the ground, smoking from the mouth. That guy is not okay.
Sorry.
He did stab you with a shark tooth sword.
He did.
Yeah.
That wasn't very nice. Alright, so I have to roll again for the other guy, right?
Correct.
For both rays.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was. I rolled a 1 and then a natural 20, but since I'm rolling
Okay.
a disadvantage,
Yeah.
so that's a 9.
Oh.
Your scorching ray makes a neat little plume of steam where it hits the surf.
Alright, and then we have 8 and 19. So, 8 and 8 is 16.
A 16 would hit, except he has a shield of his own. And his shield looks briefly like a cloud of ink suddenly fills the space around him and then dissipates.
Somebody get that guy.
And he says, "Behold, see how the power of the mighty Kraken protects me."
Yeah, take off.
So that is Iridia's turn. The Reavers no longer have a turn because one is dead and the other one got kicked by a centaur. But it is the priest's turn, and he looks over to see his 2 minions now fallen, and he says, "Mighty Kraken, bring down the force of the storm upon these unbelievers." And he casts Sleet Storm.
Not if I cast Counterspell, he does not.
You cast counterspell?
I can cast counterspell, yeah.
Well, I'm asking right now. He is attempting to cast Sleet Storm. Are you casting counterspell?
I am casting counterspell, yes.
So he begins to summon this cloud of frozen storm energy, and then you go, pew, and it just dissipates. And he says, "No way! What?" And yeah, so
Where
that
is your
happened.
god now?
Well, it's still out in the bay, I would guess. I mean, that's kind of so Tenor, it's your turn. The two Reavers are down, so it's just this priest. He's still blurry like a watercolor, though.
That's who?
The Tenor's turn. Priest
Yeah.
is still there.
All right. Is there anything in particular that I can do about the fact that he's all wobbly around the edges? Not really. But you know what's good for that kind of thing? A warhammer.
Yeah? Well, we'll see about that.
All right. So that is an 18 to hit.
Well, yeah, that'll do it. He is going to use shield again. Swing. Actually, no, I take it back. He does not do that because it wouldn't be enough. So you clock him.
Excellent.
Go ahead and roll that damage.
Alrighty. Ooh. So that is 10 damage.
Ooh,
I got a nice 7.
my Evernote keeps resetting and taking my notes away. All right. This guy is a little hardier than his sword boy brethren, so he's still up. But you definitely clocked him one.
Alright.
Blur is concentration,
actually,
so he does have to
I am
make a
going-
check for that. Hang on.
I mean, with my bonus action, I'm
No,
actually
his
going to
blur
use my.
drops. You hit him, and he drops concentration on the blur, so he is no longer watercolor man.
Ah, excellent.
Watercolor man. Yeah. So, did you have any other feature, or you have just
Yeah,
you know?
I'm going to try this out. I'm going to use my War Priest feat to turn my bonus action into another weapon attack. So I will
Okay.
hit him again.
All right.
Get him on the
This
backswing.
time is no longer at disadvantage.
Excellent. I got a shit. 12. So again, 18 to hit.
Okay. Yeah. So again, the shield wouldn't do it. So he does
Excellent.
not use it.
So plus oh, that is only a 4
Okay.
damage.
Well, hey, every little bit helps.
Mm.
This time, you discover that from that particular angle, the leather of the squid helmet actually deflects your blow a little bit.
Not completely
Yeah,
useless.
yeah. Still hurts though, probably.
Mhm.
All right, that makes it Ugal, your turn. This guy is no longer blurry.
There you are, you swarmy bastard. Try this again. I'm determined. Oop, can't roll worth. There.
You just
That
really
is
want to
a
grapple
21
him, I guess.
to grapple.
Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, this time he only gets an 11. You successfully grapple him.
All right.
He is
I got
slimy,
him.
by the way.
Eh?
You've got him, but he is slimy.
Yeah. Don't make me have to take a bath.
So are you doing anything else or just grappling him?
Just grappling for now.
All right. That makes it Iridia, your turn.
Let's see. Man, I feel like we probably don't want to kill him. But I don't have any, blunt weapons. I mean,
I
I
wouldn't
could.
say don't want to. I would say more like shouldn't.
We gotta find out where he's from.
I want
Find
to a
out
little bit.
more.
Yeah. I would like to hold my action, Ray of Frost.
Okay.
If he gets free and tries to make an attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do if he gets free and tries to make an attack?
Cast Ray of Frost.
All right. Well, so here's the question: gets
Okay.
free and tries to make an attack are not like he could make an attack without getting free from the grapple.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna do it then.
All right.
Okay. Ray of Frost.
Okay.
19.
19. All right. Yeah.
And that is only 6 damage.
Okay. So you're whittling him down. He looks cold. All the slime crusts up a little bit where you hit him with this ray. Looks real gross. His movement speed is slower or something too? with
Yeah,
Ray of Frost?
10.
All right, well, he's not going anywhere at the moment anyway. It is his turn. He's going to turn to you and mumble in primordial Oogle. So please, for me, make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, yeah, hit me where it hurts. That is a 19.
Okay, you briefly feel a wave of energy wash over you, trying to hold you in place, but you were able to break free of it. And then, seeing that you have done that, he looks around at the three of you and says, "So we can talk about this, yeah?" Tenor, it's your turn.
Well, we tried to talk to you about it.
Well,
But
yeah, situation's fluid. You know.
all right. But he's still.
I mean, you know, just because you stop my prayer doesn't mean, like, the Kraken's not going to come and, you know, wreak havoc upon all the unbelievers, you know. I mean, that's just going to happen. Like, we're just trying to, like, you know, get on his good side, right? Like, so he doesn't destroy us.
Well, here's the question. Would you like to come quietly? Or would you like to come slung over my back like a sack of grain?
Well, like, when you say come, like, where do you mean? Like, come where?
Away from the ocean and to somewhere we can talk about this with your remaining friend. I'm sorry about the other one.
Well, you know, like, here's the thing, yeah? Today's, like, a special day, and, you know, just so you know, like, I'm doing you a favor by telling you that you really should just, like, join us and help us do our thing, because, like, you know, there's going to be a lot of death and destruction today. You don't want to be on the wrong side. And that, like, that's not me, like, threatening you. Like, that's just me, like, warning you that, like, you better be on the right side of this thing when it all goes down.
I see. And why is there going to be a lot of death and destruction today? Is it because of what you just did?
Well, I mean, like, you know, it's, well, so, like, and he looks like he's having a little bit of trouble explaining, and he says, okay, so, like, here's the thing, like, we've got, you know, the Maven, like, she explains it real good, like, it totally makes sense when she says it. I feel like when I'm trying to explain it to you guys, it's coming out jumbled, but, like, here's the thing, like, you know, maybe you should really talk to her, honestly.
Who's
you
this? Who's this Maven, then?
know? Well, she's like she knows all about everything that's going to happen, right? Like, she's the one that's, like, she's you know, like, made contact, like, with the Great Kraken. She knows what's going to happen.
Where might we find her?
She gave me the pattern for this great hat.
Yeah, probably suffers in the making.
Well, hey, come on now. It's not like I've made a lot of squid hats before. I feel like this is pretty good for a first attempt. I mean, you get what it is, right? Like, it's not like you can't tell. I mean, and besides, it's not like that sort of detail is going to make the Kraken spare you or smush you. Like, it's the intent, right? It's what's in your heart.
I don't know.
I have to give him
kind
credit.
of lack of attention to anatomical detail is kind of insulting.
Well, yeah, where's your squid hat that's better, huh?
I mean, he's got you there, kind of.
So I'm going to use the cantrip shape water.
Yeah?
Just like from the surf, just kind of whip up a squid shaped hat that's considerably better.
Don't you start now. He just...
And Jaw drops and says, "Whoa, that's so cool. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Like, you know what? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you guys should get with the program and give the Kraken, like, the honor and respect he deserves, and maybe he won't smush you when he comes to show his wrath upon the unbelievers and demonstrate his awesome power."
I think
I think
everybody is.
We're going to talk to this Maven, yeah. But you're going to go have another room to sit in.
But, well, okay, so, like, is that absolutely necessary? Because, like,
Yes.
I mean, it's possible to kill you here, but I probably wouldn't do that. Messes up the beach and all.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's the choice, like, I mean, obviously, like, the Kraken certainly, likes, I mean, people could give their lives for him, but I mean, I'm not sure, like, that's really his thing. So, like, maybe I could make better offerings to him in the future if I'm not dead. So, I guess that probably would be okay if that's really the only choice is...
You don't really know this thing, do you? You talk about its day of destruction where all these people got to get killed. Now you say, well, it may not like somebody dying on the beach.
Hey, Noah, you saw my magic, right? Like, my connection to the Kraken, he gave me this magic.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fancy tricks.
Yeah, well. So?
Buddy, you might have learned a trick or two, but you don't know nothing.
I'm going to briefly fast forward to the point where you guys take this guy to the town hall and his buddy, and they're like, "What the hell do you think want us to do with him?"
I would assume that there's a jail in town. Something. But we were ordered to get this guy off the beach. What do you want us to do with him? We can't just, like, release him back into the wild. He'll just come back.
The city guard, who is currently sitting, leaning way back with his arms folded, says, "That sounds like a you problem."
You know what it is? It's something that's going to annoy the mayor when we tell him how you didn't help us.
And at this point, the priest is kind of just saying, "So, I'm just saying right now, like, so give me my unconscious buddy there. I'll take him off your hands. And I can absolutely guarantee you that we will no longer be your problem today. And again, like I've been saying, you guys are going to have much bigger problems in a little bit. So you're kind of, spend a lot of time you're sweating the small stuff right now."
Somebody give me a rope.
Got one in my adventuring. Me as well. I figured you'd probably already be tied up, but
I mean, if you wanted, you could have tied him up.
Well, I'm gonna retie him to the chair in this guy's
All right.
office. That makes him his problem.
As he watches you do that, the other guard is just like, what the? And he's just watches you do it. Like, he doesn't stop you, but he's just giving you this look like, ugh, adventurers. That sort of, yeah. But it doesn't stop you. So if you could tie these guys up and leave them in that office, you're fine.
Mm-hmm. Just remember, we're on official mayor business. And if this guy gets loose, mayor's on your head.
Yeah, all right.
So back to this priest. So you mentioned this Maven, and where could we find her to have a little conversation?
Yeah, she's in the caverns underneath the bluff, just up the beach. You know, it's hard to find at high tide, but if you go around where the rocky water is, there's actually hidden footholds, and you can get around to the cavern entrance. That's where home base is. I mean, she's going to explain it all to you much better than I have. Like, I feel like, you know, like, I feel it, like, I know it's real, but, you know, it's not like the Kraken hasn't blessed me personally with, like, the gift of the prophecy and all of that. So, like, I know it's not going to be the same coming from me. But she'll tell you. She'll tell you.
So would I would assume my character would know where this was?
Yeah. It's a big bluff that's just up the beach. This is not a big town.
Yeah.
Anything else you should know?
The Kraken is going to come and demonstrate his awesome power, and
Yeah. Skip on to when we get to the cave. And
well,
find,
you know, look,
Maven.
I'm trying to give you the most important information here, and you guys don't want to hear it. So what else can I tell you?
Let's take that information as given. Does the Maven have guards?
Traps.
Monsters.
Well, like there's other members of our
Cult?
Well, you know, like that word has such a negative connotation. Like it's okay, like it's, you know, like by standard definition, like okay, yeah, I guess we qualify, but like just like when you call something a cult, like there's just an attitude implied, and like I don't think that's fair.
So are the others there? They're as esteemed as yourself?
Well, I mean, you know, I was the one that she sent out to do the prayer on the beach, so I feel like I'm, like, you know, you guys are wasting a lot of time, right? You know, like, if you guys are not going to get on the program with the Kraken, like, you might as well, like, put your affairs in order or, like, try to get out of town or something. Like, it's not going to go well later today.
So if all the rest of them are as good as him, we shouldn't have any problems.
Why do I
Alright.
feel like he's the one that she sent out to get a little peace and quiet?
Yeah, probably.
Look, you don't know my relationship with the Maven. That's not fair.
Is she your aunt?
What does that matter?
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, well, you sit tight here. And when the Kraken comes, you play nice.
Yeah, okay.
Let's shut him up.
And
All right.
Tenor will
Okay.
wait until the other two have stepped aside and lean over to him and say, "Can you give me the pattern for the squid hat? I'd love to make a puppet."
Well, you know, like I don't have it here. Like I mean, I don't have it on me. Like it's back at the cavern. Like you know, they got the whole setup there. They actually have puppets. You know, they got the puppets that are like the whole squid head, but then also like that are just individual tentacles.
Ooh,
Those are
well,
pretty good. They got little suckers on them and everything. But you know, like I mean, honestly, you're not gonna have time to make one. You're not gonna have time to make one today, though. That's what I keep trying to tell you. And I mean, you know, like I can only say it so many times.
All right, well, maybe I can borrow one. Thank you for all of your help, I suppose.
All right.
Certainly information.
Well, you know, I'm just saying, you know, like you have to be prepared when the Kraken comes. So, assuming you guys are heading out now, I think as you leave, you know, as the door is closing, you hear this guy turn to the guard and just say, "So, have you heard the great and terrible news of the coming of the Kraken?" Yeah. So,
God, this guy, I can't believe this guy is like Kraken witnessing.
all right.
He's got one job. Is, you know, and do it as hard as he can.
So, are you heading to the the cliffs then? You know where he described?
If our cleric would be so interested, I'm down like 10 hit points.
Yeah.
Yes, if
You-
we
you-
if
you
we can
kind of
find
gently point to the
a place-
ragged, bleeding wound on your side.
yeah, well, if we can find somewhere to step aside for a few minutes, I can certainly cast Prayer of Healing, which I believe I can do as a ritual.
Yes, you can.
That'd be a good idea.
We can
Alright.
kind of discuss our little plan of attack as we take a little short rest.
Yes.
Sure. So,
Alright.
you can go ahead and do that. That's happening
2d8
right
plus
now.
2. Let's see.
It's the magic of imagination.
6. Oh, 8. Excellent. So 16 hit points back.
Oof.
Nice.
Yeah, it's much better. Much better than the squid, I'll tell you that.
And and the aid lasts 8 hours, so you still have your 5 bonus above your max.
So you can heal if we got hit. That would still be.
Yeah.
Does it
Basically,
restore
your
those
hit
5?
point maximum it was
Oh.
raised by 5, so it's different than temporary hit points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So, you guys discussing a plan, or
Yeah,
do you,
I
you
get
go
you.
and have lunch somewhere?
Yeah,
probably
a lunch
larger
of
than that.
lobster po' boys and mussel fries. I don't know.
In exchange for the prayer of healing, I'll braid her tail.
Why, thank you. We definitely want to look
geez.
fancy for the Maven.
One has to put their best hook forward.
Yeah, it takes a while to decide which one is the best. So should we try to draw her out of the cave, or are we going in there after her?
Yeah.
He said something about a handholds, and I just got to tell you that's going to be a problem.
Well, that was at the high tide, right? When's that go down? Do we gotta wait?
Would I know?
Well, I mean, you'd have to go out there and look at it. I don't think any of you were aware of there being a secret cavern there. I mean,
Well,
you know the
he
bluff
was
he's
talking about the tide.
Right. I'm just saying that you know where the bluff is. Are you asking just what tide it is right now?
Yeah.
I'd say it's in the middle, but like going towards low tide.
Okay.
Because if the water comes to the level of the cavern at whatever point, I do have water walk. And I can walk across water to the cavern, but if it's up a cliff or something, gonna be issues. But the more important part is, should we draw her out, or are we going in after her?
Yeah, we don't know what's in there. It could be her, could be a dozen.
Well, I think the most likely scenario there is if we tried to draw her out, she would just send all her cultist minions. Seems likely.
I mean, we could pick them off outside, I suppose. How did we drag her out, though? Or how did we taunt her out? Did we just say the Kraken's a big fat dummy?
So, I know you're a bit sensitive about the subject, but perhaps we could rig up some kind of fake Kraken puppet.
Why would you even go there? Why? Why?
Well,
How
I
the hell
couldn't
is
think
that
of
supposed to
anything
help
else
me?
that might draw her out.
You think she's gonna be fooled by a stuffed, ugly, dead-ass, made of cloth and stupid-eyed Kraken?
If it's a really good one.
It's gotta be huge to be a good one. And there's no such thing as a good puppet. That ain't gonna happen. I'll be stuffed and go in before that happens.
Well, I'm not putting my hand up your butt if that happens.
Yeah, no, not even. Can we stop talking about them?
It's gonna have to be 4 sticks. Oh.
This is not funny anymore. Nah, I mean, we can make some noise.
I mean, if we had till tomorrow to prepare.
Sounds like we even got to tonight.
Today's the day. Whatever today is for.
I think we're just gonna have to go in, guys. I don't think we have a lot of choices.
We don't have the luxury of time.
I mean, I don't think we can exactly sneak in. Well, I might be able to, but maybe not you so much.
I have to say it's not my strong suit.
I would just point out, like, I do have the ability to make people invisible, but I can only do it 2 more times.
So as you guys are having this conversation, the earth tremors a little bit, just.
Uh-oh.
Crap.
You don't think the T-Rex is back, do you?
Nah, I think it can't be that good. We probably need to get a move on. You don't think they'd actually be able to do it, right? To bring the thing here?
Well, they say the god looks after fools. And these people are certainly foolish, and that certainly is something pretty big out there. So.
They also say be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Well,
You know his language, right? You can say all the same things he was saying.
yes, but magic works a little differently. I'm not a cleric, so
No. Not for the Kraken. For anybody else we might meet. We can just go in as a bunch of people who want to join because we heard the crazy dude saying all the stuff. And you, Tenor,
You know?
you can be blessed because you can walk on the water.
Could we convince them that we too have been touched, and by the sea god, and
Well, I ain't got one on the hats,
So
but
I'm going to mention, not as a suggestion or anything like that, but I am just going to say that there were 3 of those guys with the weird squid hats.
I was actually just about to ask, where can we get the hat?
well, we know where 2 of them are. If they haven't gotten away from talking to God there. The other one's still down on the beach, probably.
All right. Well,
Did we just leave it there?
yeah, we did. He's probably covered in hermit crabs by now.
Well,
And we could just take a towel and cut it into strips and throw it on our heads. It's not like we got the pattern or anything.
this is all sounding very complicated. Maybe we should just go in.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about tea towel tentacles.
I mean, we can't be any worse than that guy was. All right. The world's ending, so we might as well get moving.
At this point, there is what seems like a flash of lightning, but it's purple, and an incredibly loud peal of thunder, like. But the sky is clear. It's not even cloudy.
That was an awfully familiar color of purple.
So Kraken T-Rex this time, man.
Cavern?
Yeah.
Let's.
All right.
I would like to stop on the beach and grab that squid hat, though.
Just don't go converting yourself.
It depends on how the hat smells, to be perfectly honest.
Do you go back and get the other 2 from those other guys?
That's up to you guys. This one's my hat.
All right, Tenor gets the one off the dead guy on the beach.
I think we're making this too complicated. We're going to end up fighting them anyway. But sure, let's get the hats.
All right, but I'm getting
gross.
I'm getting the other guy's hat. You take the priest's hat. Or whatever he is.
When you return to the cell, by the way, the priest is just cheerfully continuing his whole spiel big smile on his face, and the guard just looks up at you just with haunted eyes of just like, what have you done to me?
It's all right. We're gonna make it better. Take the hat.
I'm
Nope.
going to walk up to the priest. Like we've had a change of heart, and we want to go speak to the Maven. There are things happening.
Well, yeah, like I said, right? Like, did you feel the ground shake? Like, I mean, what did I tell you? Right?
Do you think it feels wrong to just go in there like this? Would it be okay for me to borrow your hat?
Well, why wouldn't you just untie me and have me take you there?
Well, I mean, it looks like these guards still need some convincing.
The guard is saying, if you take them, I will pay you money.
You know,
All right.
I don't see why we shouldn't. I mean, if the world's going to end anyway, why not? No,
It's a
why not
lucky
end it
day
with
for
friends?
everybody.
Sure. I'm gonna hold out my hand.
The
To the
guard
guard.
is he looking at you like, you kind of put me on the spot now. Now I feel like a jerk, but we put 5 silver in your hand.
Really?
Oh, I thought you were holding your hand up for the keys.
Well, he's just tied up in the chair, right?
Yeah, we just.
Hey, look,
Okay.
this is a buyer's market. Sounds like you guys want him for something. I'm not like this is.
Really, I
really
just
need
came
both.
for the hat.
Hey, I'm not paying more than 5 silver. Deal with it.
We'll be back for another half later.
Right.
Shall we?
Yeah. So the one guy is still unconscious, but you're bringing.
We can
the
leave
priest.
him.
Yeah, he's not
He
of
can
use to us.
continue his ministering.
I guess I'll take his hat though.
Like I mean, honestly, I kind of wish that you wouldn't. Like, I mean, when the Kraken comes, like it doesn't hurt to, have like a visible sign to like show that you're. Well, I mean, but okay. Like, I mean, I'm happy with the, but like, honestly, it's not for me, right? Like, I'm trying to help you, and it's like that all the way to the bluff. It's on and on and on and on. He does not.
I am not taking his hat. Like he can. We've got him. So like,
Sure.
Yeah.
I already look pretty watery. So I'm
Yeah.
good.
So with his assistance, you discover that at this level of tide, it is not overly difficult to make it, but it is a very uneven and rocky path that's pretty easy for a humanoid to step across using hand and footholds, but probably would be difficult for you, Tenor.
Yeah.
And so everyone else can just do it without a check, but I'm going to need an acrobatics or athletics. You can choose.
I'm going to give Tenor a hand for this.
Okay. So
Alrighty.
how are you assisting?
We got
This
that rope
centaur
back 'cause we don't have the guy tied up anymore, so I can help kind of
All right.
guide and pull up.
Okay. So like
All right.
stay behind and just help guide where to put the hind legs and so on.
Something like that.
All right.
All right.
All
All
right.
right, so you
Well,
can
I'm going
roll
to
with-
use athletics because that is much better than
Sure.
acrobatics.
And you can roll with advantage. I'm
All
looking
right.
for a 15, I think.
Well, one of those was an 18,
Ah, there you
so 24.
Yeah. So with assistance, you are able to basically just brute force way your way through it. Brute your force.
Kicking my own hoof holds if necessary.
Yeah.
I saw
so,
a goat do this. It ain't so hard with 4 legs.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you realize now that it's been pointed out to you that this has clearly been carved in a way that's not supposed to actually be difficult to do for the people who know it's there. So you're able to climb around to where, the part of the bluff that would be facing the sea, and you discover there is indeed a cavern entrance there, and your priest buddy, who I think introduces himself as Evan, And he brings you in, and there are a couple of these reavers with their own shark tooth swords. These have the big horseshoe crab shields too, but he says, "Relax, guys. They're with me. I've been spreading the word." And then they're just like, "Okay, good. Yeah, that's good. That's right." They look at you, and there's sort of a nod of like, "I'm so glad that you've seen the error of your ways and you understand that the Kraken is to be worshipped and feared." And a couple of them do give you looks though, like, "But don't start any funny business, you hear?" That sort of look. You know the kind that says all that. But as he brings you deeper into this cavern, you see it is torch lit in many places, and there are various little hideouts. There are some bunk rooms. Everything is damp and wet and gross, as you might expect from a sea cave hideout. But brings you back to where there is a very obvious and fairly impressive Kraken shrine made from all manner of driftwood and flotsam and jetsam and so on. And it's got bones of various sea creatures. It's got huge bits of driftwood and seaweed and all sorts of shells and everything, creating this 10-foot tall Kraken shrine. And before it kneels what seems to be an elderly woman. But as she turns to look, you see that along the side of her face have grown like 6-inch tentacles. Like there's 4 of them down each side of her face, just tentacles off the side of her face. And when she turns to you, her eyes are just jet black, full black.
Whoa, that's not supposed to
Ooh.
be.
Evan just says, "So Maven, like I was out there on the beach, and these guys came and they actually killed Teddy, which like I thought they were, I was trying to warn them, like a terrible mistake they were making, and but then they saw the error of their ways when I was telling them all about the Kraken coming and to demonstrate his might and fury to the unbelievers, and well, I was just saying how like," and she just says, "Shut up, Evan." And he turns to you and just says, like, she'll explain it better.
Jesus, that's all I had to say. Well, thank you for that already.
She stands...
Definitely a magician.
She stands in a motion that it's subtle, but you have a vague feeling like her bones don't work like they used to. And I don't mean like she's stiff. I mean like her bones are literally different under her flesh. And so she stands in a very vaguely inhuman sort of fluid motion, but turns to you all, and the tentacles are kind of flicking and sort of feeling the air. And she looks at you with these black eyes and just says, "You're too late. The destruction of Halenok is imminent, and it is too late to complete the ritual."
What ritual?
To bring the Kraken.
Wait a minute.
What?
Are you saying... I thought the Kraken was going to destroy Halenok.
The Kraken was going to demonstrate its awesome power and fury to those who doubt it. And that fury is necessary to defend against what comes.
It's not really what Evan said.
And he said, "Well, I told you I wasn't as good as explaining it. Like everyone needs to worship and fear the Kraken because it's going to..." And she just says, "The Kraken is a fearsome primordial force of the ancient world, and only it can fight another." And at this point, the ground shakes again beneath your feet, and there's like, dust trickles down from the top. And she says, "It comes.
What?
If you all would save this town, then you must assist me in completing this ritual. If you have taken worshippers from me, I need you.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe that.
The time is now, or else Halenok will be dashed to pieces. And you hear another one of those crazy peals of thunder out from the outside of the cave that resonates in and echoes through the cavern.
So you're saying that the force that is threatening Halenok is not, in fact, the Kraken itself?
No. The Kraken is a force of nature. It does as it wills, and it is only us that can observe its majesty and pray that it chooses not to turn its eye upon us. But only a power of its might and fury could possibly combat what comes. I have seen it through the Kraken's vision that it has granted me. But it requires the proper rituals to be performed, or else why should it bother?
I see.
So I'm going to step forward. Fine. I will help you.
You what? She's crazy. Crazy and worships a big friggin' squid.
How can you say that after everything we've seen recently?
I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy people. But I don't see how bringing a big monster here is going to help this town other than crush it under its feet with her tentacles, where the hell it has.
I do have to admit that the Kraken is probably not the source of chickens and Tyrannosaurus. I mean, it just seems out of type.
I'll grant you that. But what is this thing that's coming? You said something scary is coming. Everybody says that. Every time there's been some crackhead priest or half-baked cultist, they say, oh no, you better worship the good one because all the rest are bad and going to kill you.
Those
But they're all
without
wrong.
faith are useless to me. Turns back to you, Iridia. Would you help or not? Time grows
I'll help
short.
you. I'll help you.
Turns to Tenor and you.
If you can name the thing that is the real threat, I will consider helping you.
So I don't know if that wasn't very impressive. You hear echoing out from the outside of the cavern, muted and muffled with distance, but you hear a roar. And you know that like, yeah, you've never heard anything like it. And she says, it comes. We must perform the ritual now, or else there will be nothing left. And the ground shakes again.
All right. I mean, if we survive, I guess we can always solve the problem later.
She looks last to you, Yugal, and says, if you cannot cast aside your disbelief, I would have you not accompany us.
Let's put it this way. I've traveled with these two for a while. It ain't for any god or ain't for any cult. It's because I believe them. So if you want belief or faith, that's what I got. I don't care about you Kraken, but I'm going to make sure these two are survive. These two are all right. So I'm coming. Just trying to stop me.
Very well.
Oh,
Oh, don't get all teary-eyed on me yet. I'll be dead soon.
She says, the shrine is no longer sufficient. We must perform our ritual under the broken sky. And she starts towards the exit of the cave, and as you follow, you see, as she is silhouetted in the light from the opening of the cave, you see that the sky is now purple.
That's not
Oh dear.
We didn't do it. Just remember that.
tell that to the mayor.
She stops just short of the edge of the rock where the water begins, and the water flows up to the level of the cavern entrance, and after a brief glance back at you, she just steps onto it and walks across the surface.
I'm gonna test this theory. See if my toe dips in.
You attempt, and here's the question. What do you expect to happen? This is a character roleplay question. What does Yugal expect to happen?
Expects his foot to fall through the water.
It does.
Damn it. You said you could walk on water, Tenor. I wouldn't normally ask this, but I don't suppose you'd give me a lift.
Well, you can. I don't mind carrying you, but I can cast Water Walk on all of us. If you don't trust the Maven here.
Just try it first.
Right. Tenor will carefully extend one hoof.
All right.
She's sort of expecting it to work, but she's not willing to leave two of them behind if it doesn't.
Sure. If your assumption is that you believe that it will work, it does.
All right. I could carefully move with all 4 feet onto the water.
Don't get too far. I can't jump that far.
So now I'm super excited. And I'm just going to run out. He's like, God, this is so cool.
You fall right in. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you find.
I mean, you're a Genasi. Water Genasi. What does it matter if you fall through?
Exactly. It's like, either way, I was fine.
No, yeah. So you walk in, and the surface bears your weight, and you are able to walk across it and follow. But as you emerge into the opening, you realize that back at the town, things are not going very well. You see that there is a fearsome, miles-long purple crack in the sky. And you hear another one of these roars. And as you come around the side of the bluff to look back at the town, you see, for a moment, your eyes kind of struggle to process this. Because you gather that it's not actually quite at the town yet, but you see it behind the town. There is an enormous, monstrous creature, 50 feet tall. It is, in some respects, almost similar in shape to the Tyrannosaurus Rex you saw, but more monstrous and 20 times that size. And the Maven says, "Behold, the Tarrasque." And
Well,
you can see the ground, the water around you quivers as you see the ground shaking, and you can watch the buildings tremble in the town with each approaching step of this thing.
So that ritual before any of those other buildings fall down, and we get waiting for that too.
And
on the good side, nobody's going to care if they're all dead.
She strides out, and she's not quite heading for the beach. She's actually heading, more toward, like, closer to the town, but she's staying in the water. And then as she gets to a point where you are, there's a good 100 feet of clearance away from either the beach or any of the rock and everything. She spreads her hands, and you see what forms around her on the surface of the water seems to be an enormous ritual circle, like 30 feet across.
Ooh.
And is standing in the center, but there are, at equidistant points around the perimeter, there are 3 glowing circles that, you guys have been through magic rituals before. You know the deal.
I will step into one.
All right.
Is Evan here?
You know what? He's not, for reasons that you don't know. He did not follow you out of the cave.
Alright.
I'm still riding.
All right.
Well, I will drop you off at one circle.
Yeah, I
make-
don't know if that's such a great idea.
Well,
It will
I'm
be
going to see if
fine,
you
Ugal.
see if you actually stand on the surface first. If you don't, I'll lower you down by hand.
I can
If you sink through, I'll cast water wall on you.
I'll jump off.
All right.
What do you expect to happen?
Fall in the water.
You do.
Go back up.
All right, water walk it is.
At this point, the Maven turns to you and says, "Faith is required. If you have none, then depart."
Does there have to be faith in this thing?
You don't have to like it. You just have to believe that it will be here. That's it. It's a small ask.
Well, I don't like it. But I guess it's the only choice. Fine. How does this work?
You find yourself gradually raising up out of the water, just like you're floating up, but you rise up until your feet are on the surface. And the circle was not actually quite centered around you, but then you find yourself scooting over to be in the center of it. Are you going to the third circle, Tenor?
Yes.
All right. She says, "I have already offered myself, body and soul, to the Kraken. But this ritual requires sacrifice. It is to each of you to decide what this is. I need each of you to declare a sacrifice and to offer your prayer to the Kraken to save those who would deny him, to save those who only fear, and to show why it is the Kraken that is the Lord of the Deep and ruler of Halenark's people."
Cup my hands over my mouth. Hey, Evan! Evan, get over here.
Does the mayor have a name?
Mayor Quincy?
Yeah, Quincy.
Yeah,
Quinby.
Quincy.
Quincy, yeah.
He loves his town, right?
You'd think. I mean, he has to run it, so there's a different perspective there, but
Yeah, sure.
okay. What does that mean?
Are you sacrificing
she's
the
looking
mayor?
at you is like, I explained this ritual, what are you doing?
We just said it required a sacrifice. Captain goes down with the ship, right?
This ritual requires a sacrifice that you are able to provide to the Kraken right now. You see one of the church towers starts to lean as the ground continues to shake and this Tarrasque is getting closer.
All right. I'll offer. I mean, can it be some possession of ours?
You pick.
I
It's up
presume
to
so.
you. So,
Yeah,
go
Tenor
ahead.
will offer her ring of evasion.
How How do you offer it, and what is your prayer?
Just hold it above her head and say, use the magic of this ring to help us evade death, O great Kraken. And she will cast it into the water at the Maven's feet.
As it descends and plinks into the water, there is a flash of light where it enters.
Alright, well, that seemed to work.
There is a tremendous crunch as the Tarask has reached the city limits and has just crushed a building under one massive foot. You hear
Evan made it over
screaming
yet?
as people flee. He did not come with you. You are hundreds of feet away from the cave.
I yelled loudly.
You didn't
I don't think you can sacrifice Evan. I'm sorry.
that is not your sacrifice to make.
I can make him sacrifice.
You didn't bring him with you.
So, my character, Iridia, has been saving up all of the money that she can earn because about a year ago her father disappeared. He was a fisherman, but he did not disappear at sea. He left one morning to take fish to the stall in the market, and he never came home. So I have been collecting every penny that I could scrounge up to search for him, because I think it will require a lot of travel. So I will give up every scrap of money that I have earned, putting me back at 0. And I will toss all of my money into the water at her feet.
Yeah? Do you say a prayer with this?
Kind of a whisper of forgiveness, asking for forgiveness from my father.
Make a religion check.
Not have provisions. 16.
The water where you toss in the money, glows with a flash of light. Maven looks at you, Hugo, and says, Evan has business of his own.
Yeah, convenient. Sure, he would have been your first choice. For sure, I know choice of yours. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of kneel down tentatively because it's still kind of weirded out by this water standing thing. Put his hand in the water, kind of squish it around a little bit.
The wind is howling around you. The sky is still flashing with this strange purple lightning, and the water surges around you, but not where the circle is.
And a little bit lower, speaking, not yelling, kind of talking to the thing if it's there. I've never believed in anything. It's never made any sense to me to believe in anything, especially things I can't see. But if you come, then I'll see you. And I'll follow you. I give up my doubt. That's my sacrifice.
You make a religion check.
This is gonna go badly. 15.
So you feel a strange sort of, shiver pass over you. There's no flash of light, but something happened. And as you are all standing there watching, the this Tarask has entered the town, and it will lean down with one of its long forearms and slash, and you see timber of buildings go flying. You hear people screaming, and it just roars. Roar! It's towering over the tallest buildings of the town. And then you see the Maven raise her hands, and then she just drops into the water as though just the surface no longer holds her. And then there's a blinding flash of light. And as you're blinking to clear your eyes, you realize that the center of this magic circle is starting to swell upward. And the magic circle is actually starting to break apart, and you realize you are no longer standing on the surface. You've fallen into the water, and something tremendous is surfacing where this circle was. And you are all going to need to make an athletics check for me to try to stay above keep your head above water as you it churns and swells around you.
Well, I mean, I don't really need to, but... You said athletics?
Basically, yeah, this is to maintain just like control of your movements and not just getting caught up in the currents.
9.
All right.
14.
9.
Okay, yeah, I think Iridia, you find yourself kind of swirling away out of your own control, being pulled under. Yugal, you do too, only this is kind of more of a problem for you. Yeah, so Tenor, you are keeping your head above water for the moment, but you see that although you know Iridia doesn't need to breathe per se, Yugal probably does, and you've lost sight of him beneath the waves. In the meantime, the water is still swelling and pouring off of this thing, and you see 60 feet away the tip of an enormous tentacle starting to rise up. On the other side, there's another, and the entire beach starts to clear as just like with a tsunami, it sort of pulls back as the Kraken is surfacing. What are you doing?
Drown it.
If I can regain some kind of control, I'm gonna try to go after Yugal.
Okay, yeah. Well, go ahead and make another athletics check to regain control. I think you can make it with advantage because you don't have to worry about breathing. That is a water genasi thing, right? You can breathe underwater? Okay.
13.
I'm just assuming. Yeah, no,
I was negative ones.
Yeah. I think you're finding it very difficult to just navigate this incredible, like something the size of a cruise ship coming up out of the water right next to you. You're having a hard time. What about you, Tenor?
I will also try to go for him.
All right, make your own athletics check.
Athletics? Oh, my athletics is pretty good, so we'll see. So actually, dirty 20.
Okay. You are making some headway towards where you saw Yugal, and you think you might, you are pretty sure you know where he went down, and so you think on your next turn you're going to be able to try to make a grab for him.
Okay.
Yugal.
Blub.
You have been pulled beneath the surface, and you are struggling. You managed to hold your breath, so you're not drowning yet. But you are unable to bring yourself to the surface. But while you are beneath it, you see it. It is incomprehensibly big.
It's real.
It's real.
Crap. We're probably just stunned into amazement at this point.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to fight when we can't fight.
So the Kraken, its enormous tentacles feel like they could be hundreds of yards long are starting to emerge, and the bulk of this thing is emerging up onto the beach. And you see, as it lurches out of the water, one of the long tentacles whips out of the water and around the Tarrasque's neck, which roars and claws at it. And the Kraken uses that to pull itself forward. And you see, both of these creatures are crushing buildings beneath their enormous bulk.
Oh dear.
Blub.
Yeah. So, Tenor, you and Iridia have managed to both make your way in the direction of Yugal, and so one of you can, with advantage, make an athletics check to try to pull Yugal up.
Go ahead, Tenor.
Alrighty.
Not my strong suit.
14. 4. Alright, so another dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah, I think you are able to dive down beneath the water enough to get a hold of Yugal and pull him back up to the surface. Where you guys are now behind the Kraken, about 150 feet from shore.
Did you see that thing?
Did you say you had water walk?
Yes, I will help him onto my back first. Try to keep you above water while I cast water walk. And alright, well, yeah, up to 3 creatures. Actually, up to 10 creatures. So we are all under the influence of water walk.
Go ahead, make some fish walk.
So, Tenor, as you find yourself rising up back to the surface again, you hear inside your head the Maven's voice saying, "Save who thou willst, but let them fight."
Okay.
And the Kraken has pulled itself further out. It's enormous. It's not quite a squid. It has a strange, toothy, almost fish-like head, but all the tentacles emerging from just some central mass is just incomprehensible length as it pulls more tentacles out, wrapping them around the Tarrasque, which is reeling back, clawing at it, striking at it. And you can see that storm clouds are forming in the air with lightning striking down upon the Tarrasque. Some of them reflecting off of its shell and striking buildings and setting fires.
I think we need to go to the town and get as many people evacuated as we can and see if anyone needs help.
Well, I guess this is why they keep us on retainer, right?
We're on salary. We can't control our hours.
At least we're keeping the construction business busy.
Mayor is going to be so unhappy.
Well,
It's not really
unhappy.
our fault. Not like last time.
So are you having this conversation as you race towards the beach, or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You tell them that.
Yeah. Tanner can walk and talk at the same time. It's fine.
All right.
You're on her back. It's okay. We can walk and run.
So
Yeah, that's really-
it's clear now that the Kraken seems to be doing its best to have the Tarrasque completely grappled and pulling it towards the water. Now this is causing a complete, just a gouge of destruction through the city as it pulls the Tarrasque along, which is fighting and scrapping all the way. You can see enormous gouges being made in the tentacles. They're both doing damage to one another and doing tremendous damage, but the Kraken does appear to be slowly moving the Tarrasque towards the water.
Okay.
We should get people out of the pathway of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and try not to get killed in the process.
It's on high on my priority list.
Mm.
The wind is howling around.
we're
Well, I
running
guess
and we're
I'll-
running.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
So
just heading into
Dashing
the
into the fray.
yeah. So you've had to give the Kraken itself a relatively wide berth just to physically get around it, but you've made your way to the beach. You've reached the end of the beach that's right up against the shipyards. So your plan is to try to, warn people out of the path that the Kraken is going to pull the Tarrasque through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to help wherever we can, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So how are you going about that? Basically, imagine the neighborhoods of a small town.
Do
one
does
where
any of us have
giant
thaumaturgy?
Titans are.
No, I took prestidigitation this time.
Yeah. So you would imagine there are a lot of people running for terror, but there are also probably a lot of people who have sought refuge in their homes.
Door to door.
Yeah, we'll just have to
Pretty
go
much.
door to door. Tenor will kick in the front door of every house and just yell inside, "Get out!"
All right. Make intimidation. Or
Yeah,
persuasion?
intimidation sounds good.
Whichever you feel like is more appropriate.
Yeah, intimidation.
Okay. So go ahead and make that roll.
I mean, it's gonna have to be something pretty dramatic to get people's attention in the middle of all this chaos. So
Well,
I feel like kicking in the front door and
people are going
yelling.
to naturally be terrified just to,
Yeah.
like they're scared. But you need
Yeah.
to. That's why you need to tell them they need you.
Okay, that is a 15 total.
All right. Yeah. So you find that as you are making your way up the block, kicking down each door relatively without difficulty, and shouting out, you do see as you pass that there are some people emerging from some of those buildings, but not all. Like there are some people emerging, but most of them are kind of just coming out and like looking around in terror, like then looking up at the sky and kind of cowering. They're not sure what else to do.
So
what
I
are-
have a fairly high persuasion.
Yeah?
So I would direct them. Let's see.
Run
that
to
would
the
be
side. Run to the
west,
side and not
east.
just directly away. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess depending on what side of the Kraken that we're on, like I would tell them to go as far north and as far south as they could.
Right. So essentially, right now, you guys have placed yourselves between the bulk of the Kraken and the Tarrasque itself. So, like in the air above you, like above the roofs of these buildings, you see the long tentacles of the Kraken emerging, showering water down on you like it's raining.
I just kind of stand there like a crossing guard directing traffic.
Yeah.
It's like, that way, run.
Yeah. Go ahead and make your own persuasion check.
That's a natural 20 plus
Okay.
6.
Oh,
Nice. So, having emerged confused, several of them are very grateful to have someone just tell them what to do, and they follow your instructions. And so you have many people fleeing. What are you up to, Yugal?
I feel like I need to get a higher height to see what's going on, so I'm gonna head for probably the tallest building around, see if I can
Okay.
see
Go ahead
from
and
there.
make a athletics check to climb, or what are you thinking?
Well, I have a second story work, so it doesn't slow me
Okay.
down.
Yeah, great. Yeah, just parkour.
Pretty much, yeah. And then from there, I'm going to try to see if I can figure out there's better ways or worse ways for people to go.
Okay. Yeah, so make an investigation check, or perception if you'd prefer.
Investigation for me, natural 20.
Oh,
So
nice.
27.
Yeah. So what you see is that, by and large, people could run one way or the other to try to get out of this path, but you know that there is a big reinforced wall that was part of an old fortress that is in one direction, and you think that the construction in that area would be a lot more stable and probably safer for people to go that way, just of the two.
Yeah, so I yell out down partially to Iridia and partially to them. Let them know.
And hearing his instruction, I will start directing people thusly.
Right. You will make a dexterity saving throw.
A 17.
The 17. You just duck out of the way as a church bell, still attached to most of the bell tower, flies over your head.
Easy, I'm on your side. I'll shake my fist at the Kraken.
Tenor, you are finding that people are starting to emerge, but they're kind of panicked and they're starting to flow a little bit like a mob, and you feel like that they're going to start trampling each other.
All right. I will swoop in and pick up a few of the people who seem most vulnerable. You know, old people, small children, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
And start, since I'm taller than all of them and can yell over their heads, start directing traffic in the proper direction rather than, into each other.
Right, yeah. Go ahead and make an athletics check. For
Athletics,
swooping.
dang.
I thought you liked
think I-
athletics.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, how
I
about
keep
this?
mixing up athletics and acrobatics, but
Okay.
athletics is fine.
Yeah.
So 14 total.
Okay, yeah. So you find a couple of particularly vulnerable individuals having trouble keeping up with the pace of the crowd, and you are able to do you pull them up like to put them on your back or what?
Yeah, I just sweep them up and chuck them onto my back like so many sacks of carrots.
Or oysters. So you've scooped them up and you're kind of leading the way, careful not to do any trampling of your own. Iridia, I need a dexterity saving throw from you.
Okay. 0 on that one. Okay. 16.
16. You are going to take half damage as lightning strikes the building next to you.
Might be a problem.
And that's 10 lightning damage.
10 lightning damage.
Yeah. And the storm is going around, but you are helping to guide the crowd of people out of the path towards this reinforced wall. And you are making progress getting people to go, but you also see the Tarrasque is getting dragged closer. It's only about a block away now, and you see that its enormous stomping feet will, get pushed as it sort of digs in its heels, but then it'll stumble forward and the ground shakes beneath your feet. Several people are stumbling.
I don't think I have anything that's gonna help them. Yes. I guess I will just try to help whoever I can. Just like with my own two hands, because I have nothing else to help me here.
Sure. I think that's probably still going to be. I'll allow dexterity or strength depending on how you are using them.
Well, one is a -1 and one is a 0. So mostly I'm trying to avoid debris and stampeding people and just trying to herd them rather than like pull them.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, you can continue to try to direct them, give them instructions too, like.
Yeah. That's only a 9 though.
Okay. Yeah, so I think you're finding it difficult, especially now that it's so close. The ground is shaking under your feet. I think you kind of stumble to your knees. Your ears are probably still ringing a little bit. Your hair kind of standing on end from that lightning. You feel like the Tarrasque is being pulled, like it's leaning over your head. The sun goes dark because now you are in the Tarask's shadow. And looks like it is struggling against the Kraken's tentacles, but it looks like it's about to fall, and you are still beneath it.
Yeah, I need to get out of there fast.
So, Tenor, Yugal, what are you guys doing?
I'm still surrounded by people. Are they still panicking?
Well, they're doing better, like with your direction. And you are getting more and more away, but there's also just like more coming behind you. There's, a lot of people, but it is starting, you're starting to see the tail end of, of this crowd, whether that's everybody or not. It's at least everybody who is currently already following instructions.
All right. I will cast Calm Emotions on the people around me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And instruct them to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And then go back and round and basically shepherd dog the tail end of the people and round them up and also point them in that direction.
Yeah, so you find that the panicking crowd, you have a lot of people turn from just blubbering messes that are as much of a problem to anyone else as they, as anything, but are able to have the panic stripped away to the point where they can actually think rationally and make good decisions. And you see a lot of them helping each other and corralling the others and making better decisions there. And so as you turn around to try to corral the stragglers, you see that Iridia now is like on her hands and knees beneath where the Tarask looks like it may be about to fall.
Okay, now that these people are taken care of, I'm going for her.
Okay. What are you doing, Yugal?
Do I see anybody deeper in?
What do you mean deeper in?
Like who haven't made it up to the pack, either because they're caught or
it
they're...
looks like the tail end of that crowd, like the people who are going to be able to get out, seem like they're mostly out.
All right. Do I see Iridia?
Well, sure, yes, you do. Of course you do, because she's right there.
All right. I'll charge towards her and see if I can help.
All right. Well, so you were.
Do you
want to
get on my back to do that?
Well, so he was up on the rooftop last.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are you making your way towards her?
Well, run over, grab that washing line, slide down that for a while, land on the hay bales, do a forward roll, dodge suspiciously to the left as a rock lands right beside me, relying upon the inner sense that's been honed over many years, plus this neat little dagger I picked up a while ago that tells me that things are going to hit me. And then I run like mad, stumbling slightly left and right. Looks like I'm drunk, but actually I'm just trying to avoid everything that's coming towards me. Something like that.
All right. Well, that was all so great that I'm going to let you do it without a roll. How about that? So all of that just works. So now, Tenor, Yugal, Iridia, you are all together there. You pull Iridia to her feet just as you see one more yank from these enormous, powerful tentacles, and the center of the Tarask's mass has now passed its footprint, and it is falling, roaring in anger and frustration. I need a dexterity saving throw from all three of you, please.
Shit, and I gave up my ring of evasion. Oh, and I have a minus one to dexterity.
I'm going to say that you are all helping each other.
Okay.
So you all make it with advantage.
Okay. Phew.
That turns a 1 into a 10.
14.
16.
Okay, so 15.
Okay. Iridia, I'm afraid you got a little bit of coming to you. So that's actually another 16 bludgeoning damage.
Ouch.
As you just barely make it clear, and it's basically you manage to avoid being crushed underneath it, but as it sort of lands and compresses onto the ground a little bit, you're just knocked outward from it, and you're sent sprawling 10 or 15 feet away, taking that damage. But the Tarask is now writhing around, lashing, struggling to get out of the Kraken's titanic grasp. It seems like it'd be a real bad idea to stand there right next to it.
Yeah. Time to go.
Yep, let's get the heck on out of here. I'm really glad for advantage because that could have been a 5.
I rolled a 1 the first time, so yeah.
Good thing you all helped each other. You know, you put yourselves in harm's way too.
It's all really about sharing.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So, having gotten as many people as you could clear, the Tarask now wrapped in the enormous Kraken's tentacles, you get clear. You find a reasonable perch, not too high up because you realize there's still lightning striking all over the city, but gradually, in jerks of 10, 15 feet at a time, crushing, plowing a furrow through these buildings. You watch as the Kraken slowly but surely drags the Tarask to the beach, into the water, out to sea, and then slowly the storm fades, the sea begins to calm, and with one last peal of this strange echoing thunder, the purple crack in the sky is gone.
So who's gonna tell the mayor?
I think it might be time to move to another town.
I live here.
There's nowhere to live anymore.
Oh, we live outside of town.
No,
I'm good.
there's quite a bit of the city that is intact. There's mostly just a whole destroyed district on one side, and then a big furrow through the middle, and then
Yeah.
sporadic damage here and there. But there's a fair amount of the town still intact.
We can just tell him it's a new promenade. Straight shot to the sea. No more weaving around inconvenient
I'm
buildings.
actually gonna
Just pave it.
Just for humor's sake, we're going to imagine that we see all of you there standing in sort of a portrait, pose, just breathing hard as you realize that you've succeeded. The Tarask has been dealt with, and it's been a hard-fought battle, but, what victory could be achieved has been. And then we're cutting back to you sitting in the mayor's office with him, his head in his hands. And then we cut back over to you, and all three of you are sitting with Evan, and you all now have matching leather squid hats on.
Do I really have to wear this damn thing?
You did promise.
I promised to serve. I didn't promise to this.
It's part of the uniform.
No. Doesn't really fit.
That's what Evan was doing, by the way. He was making you your own squid hat. Yeah. So I think with that image, that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Yay!
Victory? Question mark?
Yeah. Well, better than it might have been.
Survival! Exclamation point.
Could've been
I think that's the.
I feel like I was drafted.
All right. Well, so that was lots of fun. Thank you guys for playing. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. Those of you who are participating in the chat, we had some good lines in there. Someone suggested that Sack of Oysters would be a good punk band name. Yeah. And then pretty early on with Prince Justin saying, I'm getting a Clash of the Titans vibe here. And it's like,
Can somebody get her a shield? Yes, please get me a shield.
All right. So as far as coming schedule for so many levels, I think next week we're probably not going to have a regular episode. I might do something, but we're going to have some players who would still not be able to make it. And of course, I will have a brand new puppy on that day. So that's very exciting, but it probably means that we're not going to have a regular episode of So Many Levels next week. But we will return for more adventure on So Many Levels.
So many levels.
It's not quite the same without a whole bunch of us
Yeah.
doing it, but
Quick, everybody make 2 voices.
TV
So
and
many
Third
levels.
singing? I'm
So
not
many
sure.
levels, eh?
So many levels. So many